teammates with him still on the team, actually. Gladiators Legion has some of the players that have been in the game since, you know, open beta, essentially. You have Gods, Rolf, and then, of course, Panker, Pooks, and then on the DPS side, Far and Dalton, who are also contenders and a veteran. So this is, you know, a time for these old hands to step up, start showing that experience, putting it to work, because Team Envy, they're also looking for their redemption story.
And so Team Envy now has Jaru being the shot caller, and we joked about it. It was like they were jet lagged last week, because they actually were.
Yes.
Trill just got back from Australia, actually just came here from Australia the day before the game. And so now that they've gotten some rest, I'm really excited to see what Trill's going to be able to bring to the table. We're going to have a much more accurate view of that, and Gods is going to give Crimson the view of his spawn, as Gladiators Legion is going to be up on a 6v5 here on Ruins.
It's really a multi-view package for, you know, you see the Tesla cannon, then very quickly you see the inside of your own respawn, as Gladiators will be capping Ruins right off the bat. And this is, you know, not a tough look for Team Envy. You saw this is actually a pretty classic look. You have Trill back onto that Reinhardt, no surprises here, but Gladiators Legion, it's worth pointing out that there will be no D.Va on the field. We saw this yesterday as well with the off-tank player on Winston instead of that Korean mecha pilot. So you have a little bit of that utility, a little bit more of that shielding, as we see Gods go in on the backline, drop that bubble.
Yeah, if Gods is going to be doing the Winston, he's got to do it a little bit better than Mayhem Academy did yesterday, as they got rolled on all the maps that they tried this out on. But you are providing a little bit more beef. You're giving the supports more opportunity to get that ultimate charge in at the end, as you actually see from those ultimates right now. But Team Envy don't own the point. They haven't gotten a chance to even step foot on it.
Yeah, and in order to do so, they're going to have a clean team wipe, because Gladiators coming in close to those support ultimates, and that Primal Rage will be able to stall. And from the left side of the field, Gods flying in, drops a bubble yet again. And the utility that he offers is a ton of that mobility, but also the potential for disruption with that Primal Rage.
Oh, that Earth Shatter is going to be pretty big. It's going to get 3 people. Rolf is going to be the one to confirm those kills. It was a team effort in at the end, and Gladiators Legion looking solid so far on Ruins.
Yeah, very comfortable, cushy.
Yeah.
You know, you would think that, you know, maybe they have family that lives in Greece. This is a, you know, an environment that they're very familiar with, because that was great discipline as well. Panker looking for that opportunity, not going to be, you know, mistiming that really crucial ultimate that's allowed Dalton to get up to his Graviton Surge, whereas Envy are still a few seconds away from their own.
Oh, but look at this. There's going to be 4 ultimates on each side, so Team Envy does have an opportunity here. They're going to use the Sound Barrier in an offensive way. The Graviton Surge is coming out from Gladiators Legion. Let's see what Team Envy is going to do with it. They're going to have to hold it for this next fight. A big deal that Crimson did use that Transcendence, so there's going to be no support ultimates for Team Envy anymore. They have to stay on this point, as Gladiators Legion has gotten to 99%, but Team Envy hasn't been able to sniff the point throughout this entire round so far.
Yeah, not even in the same zip code, unfortunately. Team Envy are going to have to give up this first round, 0 to 100. Gladiators Legion starting things off very strong, Boop. And you mentioned the fact that Crimson threw out that Transcendence, but it just wasn't fast enough to save Trill. That's one of those really hard things as a support player these days. You do have quite a bit of safety. You're generally not going to be expecting divers to get right on top of you, but with that distance comes a very heavy responsibility. It's almost as if you have to have, like, you know, 2 magic 8 balls, 1 in each pocket, in order to be able to tell when one of your tanks is going to need that, you know, 300 HPS healing, because it's going to take you a while to actually just physically traverse that space and get that healing to where it's needed.
Yeah, Gladiators Legion looking good on that double main tank. Panker now going to be on that Winston. He's pretty good. He's pretty good on Winston. I think people have said in the past.
Apex, you know, player.
Yeah. Team Envy, though, going to try to get this one back and even this up here on Ilios. Well, is a good place to try to get momentum back. Those boops could be real for both teams. No Orissas, but we do have Lucios. And in a perfect world, my name is Boopasaurus, where only kills we're going to see are going to be those boop kills, but that's probably not going to happen, as Panker is going to jump into the backline and get into the squishies. Gods will confirm the kill onto Sharp, so drawing first blood. Gods on well right now. Far taken very, very low. Gods out of that mech, but I don't think it's going to matter as they take this point.
Yeah, We do have Gladiators Legion setting up their tent right here on the objective, and this is going to be much more difficult, as you said, Boo, because not only are they slowly accruing that percentage just by hanging out, but they're going to know where Team Envy are going to be engaging. These are very narrow streets. A misposition, a good boop from one of the Gladiators members could spell doom for Team Envy very early on, as we haven't really entered that ultimate phase just yet.
But Gladiators Legion have gotten that self-destruct. Oh, actually, no, it was to get right back into that mech. Apologies, my friends. Far, though, going to get the shield bash on to Trill, but that's not going to be enough, as he was taken down very low during the animation of the shield bash, and now they're going to be down 6v5. Envy has an opening for the first time all match so far, as Ruins was very, very hard for them, and Team Envy looking good on taking this point, and they do.
Yes, a Trill 80 HP and a Dream, and he's going to be hoping for more percentage points coming his way right here, as we see Sharp able to clean things up. But that was actually really excellent positioning from the main tank. You saw that while Jaru was taking all of Gladiator's attention on the right side of that little building, it was Trill in their back line, Teslaing them all down. And even though it only does 30 damage, over time that really adds up, and he's going to have his Primal Rage to his name to stall things out even more should it come to be necessary.
Team Envy is going to have 6 ultimates for this fight. Gladiators Legion is also going to have all 6, so this is going to be a big one, everyone. Self-destruct is out, so are the sound barriers from both teams. Self-destruct will be grabbing Panker and the mech of God, so no tanks for Gladiators Legion. So the 6 ultimates from Envy, actually 5. Fire did keep that sound barrier. The 5 ultimates will be enough, but Gladiators, I think, can consider that an eco push.
Yeah, a little bit of an eco push there. You did expend a couple of ultimates, but you drew out so many from the side of Team Envy. You do have a little bit of wiggle room. Team Envy just now eclipsing Gladiator's percentage, but Trill unfortunately already popped that Primal Rage. He was like the sacrifice. I hear gorilla hunting is illegal in most parts of the world, though. Take a look at that.
Well, if you can find a gorilla in Greece, I'm pretty sure it'd be illegal there too, but it doesn't seem like Gladiators Legion seems to care about that, as they're going to be looking for Team Envy and all of their heads on some trophies by the end of Ilios, and now the self-destruct is gonna go off and gonna get 3 kills. So this is the opening that Gladiators need. So that's a 6v3 on the point, and now Team Envy needs to decide how they're gonna back out of this fight.
Yeah, Team Envy, this is a losing fight. The only goal right now is to die very quickly, as we see Sharp backing up. He does not want to go down right now. He's charged nearly 100 energy, and it's gonna take him quite a while to build that back up should he fall, but escapes to the safety of his team spawn. And Gladiators now, you know, they bought themselves a little bit of time, but Team Envy don't need to sweat. Once again, at 85%, they only need that one clean team wipe in order to tie things up.
Rolf has a Transcendence to stop the ultimates of Team Envy when they do come here. If you have a Transcendence and Team Envy has a Graviton Surge, hey, that's gonna be enough 95% of the time to keep your team alive. Gladiators Legion now, they're entering one fight territory. That was pretty scary on the Winston going into the well, but hey, that was just a fancy little move to hop right back out. And looking at Sharp and that Graviton Surge, that's what you're gonna be really focusing on for this fight. Jaru does have the rally. He's going to go ahead and use it right now. The damage mitigation is there. There it is. There's the Graviton Surge. Transcendence is there to counter that like we thought would happen. But they were able to get 1 kill onto Boot, so there is not going to be some AoE healing for Gladiators Legion. But Panker's going to get Jaru in at the end. But now they're just trading kills. The D-Mech onto Gods could prove to be absolutely what Team Envy needed, because they need to get through that meat. But he's actually really close to getting back into that mech. Is he going to do that? Panker is not going to be able to maintain in this fight, but now the trades are continuing to happen. 5v5 on the point right now. No tanks available for Team Envy anymore. Trill did die with that Primal Rage, which could have been what they needed to continue on in this fight. Because we're in overtime, those spawn timers are way longer than they were just a little bit earlier, and Gladiators Legion is going to take this fight in at the end and go up 1-0 in this match score once they do clean everything up.
Shields up, sweeping the competition here on Helios. That's going to be an early 2-0 win for Gladiators Legion on that control map. And I just, again, just want to point out, feels so bad. Crimson was like, feel my enlightenment, but unfortunately caught in the grab with Jaru there on opposite sides of the pillar. So it's like, well, you know, shouldn't, you know, enlightenment be all-encompassing? No, rocks. Rocks are their worst enemy. Just can't get through.
No, enlightenment and rocks, a tale as old as time.
Oh yes, exactly. As my grandma always said.
You have an interesting grandma. She says a lot of things. But let's say a little bit more about this game. And so Glad's looked really, really good on both of those rounds. Yeah. There were opportunities where they were coming from behind or they were on the back foot, but it doesn't matter in the end because they were able to get a 2-0 win on that map. And on the back of some good tank play, I really want to get into this Winston-Reinhardt combo, Ham. Why is it there and how did it work so much better for Gladiators Legion today?
I feel it was one, Gladiators Legion were definitely playing that composition well. We've certainly seen it fail in the past. We're not going to name any names yesterday. But it was a little bit of Team Envy just looking hesitant, very uncertain on their engagements on Ilios, which they did drop that that round. So, Envy, when you come in, one of the things that you just got to remember for playing main tank, this is as a plebe, my advice is you gotta be repping that big tank energy. You can't come into those fights timid, right? That we can tell that Gladiators Legion had their homing beacons all on Trill's forehead that entire round. Every time that he even poked his head around the corner, he was immediately taken down to half health. You know that all the orbs, all the Zarya nades, even the little Diva micro missiles were all aimed at him, and it's a really hard place to be because they sensed, maybe just a little bit of weakness, a little bit of hesitation, and that's all that it takes for this GOAT's composition to unravel. Yeah, God's usually on that Diva. We did see that on some of Ilios, but on that first round, we saw that Winston, but hey, we're going to look at him on Diva, which is what he is known for on a Gladiators Legion. He had some huge bombs last week. We didn't see a ton of big bombs this week, except this one. That made up for the lack of all the other ones, Exactly. God's having an explosive moment right there, and that's one of the things when you're running a Winston, that bubble is on a pretty long cooldown. If you don't have it, your team is not going to be getting any kind of shielding whatsoever. Yeah, and you need that shielding to get away from that self-destruct, because we saw a couple times and a lot yesterday, if someone's ankle or someone's strand of hair is peeping out of that corner. One long toenail. Yep, is peeping out of that corner, you will get taken down from that self-destruct, and that time 3 of them did. But now we're going to be entering Hollywood for this second game. Gladiators Legion up 1-0, taking Ilios pretty easily 2-0 on that. There were some challenges, but now they have to figure out how are they going to get to Gladiators Legion? How are they going to get into their head and take Hollywood in the end? I think, again, the key to victory here is just good, disciplined play, right? Every time you come into that engagement, it's, a little bit difficult to say, oh, what is going to be our key to victory here? You do have a grab, you have a shatter here and there, but how are we going to take the enemy team off guard, which seems to be, the X factor for many of these fights is that, we just weren't quite expecting it. Pop Transcend is just a little bit too late. 2 people already died. Whoopsies. And now we've invested a trance. I'm not going to have that for the next fight. It really is kind of this like chess move kind of dealio where you have to be looking 3-4 steps ahead of the enemy team, and sometimes you can't always know, but discipline does help keeping those comms clear so that everybody, hey, if we're gonna fail, we're gonna fail together. Yeah, sometimes if you're playing the game that's right in front of you, are already falling behind, and I think we did see that from a Team Envy. But what's really, really cool, if you want to join in Contenders, you can actually sign up for Overwatch Open Division right now at playoverwatch.com/esports/open_division. So Open Division is super fun. Once again, it's the path to pro. If you remember that Crusher 99 from BlizzCon 2 years ago, it means that you and a bunch of your friends can enter Open Division and make it into Contenders. There's some really great stories all around the world. I'm going to tell a similar one, the same one that we did last year. There was a Brazilian team that just wanted to win BlizzBucks and then challenge the second best team in the region in the quarterfinals of South America. And that is just such a great underdog story. They actually challenged them harder than any team did except for Brazil Gaming House, who Isrus did lose to in the end. But the reason why I say that is because Open Division is how you make it here. Exactly. You got to start at some point. The path to pro, those steps are laid out in Open Division. An excellent starting point for any of you guys with those competitive inclinations. Definitely go for it. But as of right now, as we return to Goldshire Studios, those cars must be incredibly soundproofed. I don't know how that guy can be like, are we there yet? And you hear like gunfire explosions, death cries all around you. Well, maybe they're just used to it. Oh, yeah, yeah. Maybe well, they are a Hollywood executive. Yep. Screams are, per the usual. Yep, and arguments, and that loud noises. Yeah, that's something that they're all very used to. Let's look at these team comps, everyone. Team Envy on that defense, they repping the Zenyatta Goats, that 3-3.
Gladiators Legion is going to do that double main tank. Panker on that Reinhardt, Gods on that Winston. It worked really well for them on Ilios.
It is kind of that best of both worlds, Boop, because we talk about the verticality on Streets phase all the time. Just having the ability to contest the high ground is already paying dividends for Gladiators Legion right here as they try to look for their entrance. McGravy is on the high ground, actually quite close to that self-destruct already, even in this very first opening fight. But as of right now, Gladiators, not going to be forcing anything. They want to look for that opportunity, playing a patient game.
Well, you are giving up that defense matrix if you are Gladiators Legion, so you're going to have to be ready for all of those Graviton Surges, and the Graviton Surges haven't been coming up with kills. Far is going to get one of his own, getting first blood for Gladiators Legion on this attack, so this is a 6v4 for them. God's pushing the D.Va off of the high ground. Now McGravy has to come onto the objective, carrying that Discord Orb with him, because he needs to go back to his team. Gladiators Legion will be taking this point.
Oh, this is actually, I'm really, really enjoying this double main tank look from Gladiators Legion. They're also executing it very well right here. It can be tempting as a Winston player to just, stand behind that Reinhardt shield or get a little bit of that shielding yourself. I'm just looking for opportunities, but most of your utility is going to be attacking the enemy team from those off angles, cutting off the sight lines with your bubble, contesting that high ground, getting up in that D.Va's face, forcing her to use her boost to get away from you. And that is kind of that unsung hero role here as once again Gods engages.
And Trill does have that Earth Shatter. Is the Shield Dash going to be able to open it up for him? But Team Envy has been opened up in terms of health pools. Crimzo, Sharp, Jaru all taken very low. McGravy below half as well. But he does have that self-destruct. They've gotten the ultimates there. Transcendence now coming from Team Envy. Rolf is going to have one as well, but the Earth Shatter is going to knock some people down. Trill's going to get the pin onto it. The Winston. Panker's going to finish off. Trill's going to finish off Panker in the end. And now Team Envy has put up that defense. But this next fight is going to be a big one as both teams rocking some good ultimates.
That's going to be tons of ultimates. The sound of a million Qs being pressed in this next fight. In all likelihood, Trill, a beautiful Earth Shatter right there, already halfway up to his very next, speak of the devil, 66%. And Gladiators Legion, they're probably going to have to expend one of these supportive ultimates to try and nullify Sharp's grab.
Sharp's going to use that Graviton Surge. Self-destruct is going to follow. Primal Raging Winston's not going to get taken down, but the trades are there. 5v5 on at the point. Earthshatter going to knock 4 down on Gladiators Legion. Trill really popping off so far. Does miss the charge, so that was a missed opportunity for him to take someone out of the fight. But with McGravy going down, Gladiators Legion now looking very strong in this fight. They were able to take Boots and Panker down, so even though Gladiators Legion had an opening, they need to take it. Dalton is going to be taking that opening, and in the end, Gladiators Legion will be continuing this payload. That was pretty back and forth.
Very back and forth with multiple investments on both sides, Boop. Envy, they've expended everything that they have. As you can see here, Gladiators Legion, they were able to get an early advantage by demecking McGravy, who was caught on the top of that cafe, not able to join with the rest of the team, receive any of the safety there, and with no D.Va, that's a lot of damage mitigation lost. So Gladiators Legion continuing now through Streets phase. They have still about 3 minutes left here.
Now they just have to take the ultimates away from Gladiators Legion. Their Earth Shatter is not going to get very much. Far is going to get the first kill, though. No Reinhardts on the field for each team, so we're going to see a knockout, drag-out fight with no Reinhardts. Remember, we said Goats is so important with that Reinhardt, and without him now, we're just going to see some 1v1s and some team kills here. Gladiators Legion are going to win those fights and continue on the payload right here. They might be able to grab the second point. It's up to Team Envy to see if they want to contest.
Oh boy, and Gods finally catches his prey. Fire Frog going down right there, and Gladiators Legion, they may well have sealed themselves a point B take just off of those staggered kills, especially now, no doubt, with Rolf taking out McGravy. You said, Boop, Reinhardt, a main tank, is so important as a crucial member of your team, and now with Gladiator Legion's comp, you have a double chance of having a main tank still alive on the field with Gods as Winston. He's been playing this position so well. You saw so many times Envy thought that they were playing that shield battle with the Reinhardt, only to find an 800-ton gorilla falling onto the heads of their backline. Now you have to turn around and take care of that, and already paying huge dividends. Fire is the first one down.
I can see Gods using that D.Va experience on that Winston, isolating the back line and getting those kills in the end. Trill's shield is getting taken down very, very low. Transcendence now for Gladiators Legion. They want to be aggressive here. They want to take this fight right here, right now. The Earthshatter coming down. The particle barriers are there, and Dalton is at 100 energy. 95 now. Graviton Surge is gonna land. Get 3 squishies in the back. Sound barrier might not be enough. Will the self-destruct get Gods? Yes, it will. In the end, Team Envy up 6v4 on the payload right now. Gladiators Legion looked pretty good at the beginning of that fight, but Team Team Envy did not freak out. They were able to stall it out. They got the defense.
Yes, and that was a must-win situation for Team Envy with all of the ultimates that they invested right there, not to mention how close the payload is to finishing out that map. But Gladiators Legion, once again, I also would like to point out that you cannot matrix a Winston's Tesla cannon damage, so there have been tons of complaints in the professional community about the strength and efficacy of that D.Va defense matrix, and now you don't have to worry about any of those incoming projectiles with that Winston.
God's using that Primal Rage to get into the back line. He's spinning as fast as he can to be as hard to hit as he can, and it seems to have worked. The Discord Orb was not enough. Trill was shield bashed. Now he's getting bullied around by the rest of Gladiators Legion right now. Sound barrier out from Boots for Gladiators Legion, so they have all of the HP. None of them have been taken down below the armor that Rally has provided them so far. Team Envy, though, will be coming back with this next fight with a Trill Earthshatter, and we've seen him in World Cup. I saw him last week, even on Jetlag. He did hit some big ones.
Yeah, no, this is a very good player. Gladiators Legion, they're so close, but they cannot relax right here. God's already just staged close to that spawn, looking for that stomp, and Crimzo is his target.
Yeah, Trill was able to get that particle barrier alley. The Earthshatter is going to whiff. That was possibly their only opportunity to get this defense. Sound barrier from Fire, though, is going to keep things a little interesting. Charge kill onto Jaru, though. Gladiators Legion have to decide if they want to take this. The trades are there. The 4v4 is happening on the payload, but with those defensive spawns, it's going to be much harder. They do invest, the Graviton Surge Team Envy does, to get this bigger bang, but that could have been too much.
Yeah, it may have been pulling the trigger just a little bit early, as with over 1 minute left, Gladiators Legion still have a chance to attack this point, and they'll be rolling in with not only that Earthshatter, but the Transcendence as well. Gods has given up that monkey business. It will be back to the D.Va for him. That self-destruct, as we saw, can be so effective for clearing those points, especially in overtime situations. He wants to have that on hand.
We are at less than a minute now. Gladiators Legion trying to complete Hollywood. We haven't seen that yet today. Will Gladiators Legion be the first to do it? The rest of his team has already taken pretty low. Panker and Gods were below half health. The Harmony Orb has to be enough for them right now. Panker doesn't have that shield. The Earthshatter is there. Does get Crimzo onto the ground. He doesn't have enough health to survive through it. Transcendence now from Gladiators Legion is going to give them an opening, but through the Transcendence, it's going to end, and if people are still going to be taking some naps for Gladiators Legion, Sharp takes advantage of Far, taking a little breather, but now the Graviton Surge coming from a Team Envy. Will it be enough? No, it's actually Gladiators Legion coming out on top here. Now they just have to finish it out. The Sound Barrier going to make it a lot harder for Team Envy to come back here on this fight.
Ooh, and Crimzo just 4% away from the Transcendence, but he's only going to be able to provide that for himself. Stall things out just a little bit longer as Trill comes in on that emergency Hammond, but Gladiators Legion, they have the ability now. No Reinhardt on the field. An Earthshatter from Panker hits nothing, but it's okay. There's still a self-destruct from Gods, but Team Envy working that crouch span is able to largely get out of the way.
Wow, Jaru very low, but no focus on him right now, so the Brigitte's going to be able to get that whip shot kill onto Panker. They're going to regret that one in at the end. Transcendence again from Gladiators Legion and keep them on the payload. They're so close to finishing this out. They don't have any time. It is overtime. Once they leave the payload, this will be over. Self-destruct is going to get Far, but there is, before that, 2 kills from Gladiators Legion. They still have those numbers. Gods has that Discord Orb and Harmony Orb on him right now. He's going to help his team butter them out of this fight. Round 1 is complete. Gladiators Legion do take all 3 points of Hollywood.
All 3 points, but would just like to point out that beautiful knock-up kill, not from our friendly frogs, but from the Hammond. It was actually a Trill knocking Far up into the exploding mech to seal the deal here for Gladiators Legion.
I'm glad the pile drive doesn't cancel Earthshatter, it just makes it really long.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
because he lifted up his hammer, got pile drive, and then once he hit the ground, he got that Earthshatter off. But it gives your team an opportunity to react and make sure to nullify it anyway. It's pretty much canceled.
Exactly. It's a lot of micro plays, goats v goats, and buying time is one of those crucial things. It gives your team just a little bit of that barrier, that buffer. But now Team Envy know what they have to do. They've held Gladiators Legion to overtime. So do want to point out that Gladiators had over 3.5 minutes to try and push that 3rd point, but they ended up still completing the map, but with no time to their name. So should Envy also be able to finish out the map, they will have, set themselves up with a win condition, hopefully with a little bit of time.
And so the time bank is very important here. Gladiators Legion, again, in overtime. I just want to reiterate the importance of that aspect. Gladiators Legion, though, have looked good on defense so far. When they owned those control points, they didn't let them go very often, but Team Envy is going to try to get some momentum. They haven't seemed to be able to grab any type of momentum consistently for any period of time.
Exactly. It's a cheese roll. It's going to happen, but the momentum needs that little bit of extra push just to get over that that hump. So Team Envy going to be looking for hopefully a fast point A take to start that ball rolling. And Trill looks like he may be sticking with this Winston Sharp, potentially just scouting with this Sombra. It is a very risky business to run Sombras into Brigidas even these days.
Risky business indeed. Pretty good movie, one of Tom Cruise's best. Gladiators Legion, though, on the defense this time, looking to see how they want to take this attack from Team Envy. The way that Gladiators have been viewing it is they've let Team Envy try to take them down. Look how low Far got, but he is still alive, amping it up, and that Harmony Orb keeping him up at full. That's going to provide the support a lot of ult charge, and now we just have a brawl on the point. Because this is so early, there are no ultimates, so this is just an accuracy and a left click game right now. The trades are there, no Reinhardts for each side. McGravy trying to focus down to Zarya, but is not going to be able to confirm that kill. Eventually, these offensive spawns are going to come back. They're going to have a small little window. Well, they'll have 6, while Gladiators Legion will have 5. With the D-Mech, though, that's going to make Gladiators Legion even weaker.
Yeah, however, Crimzo does fall. That's going to be most of your consistent healing gone from the side of Team Envy, but with Gladiators Legion still just trickling in here, no problem for McGravy to just headbutt all of them with that massive mech, clean up some of those kills. And Team Envy will also nab themselves that point A within the very first fight. It was really excellent positioning from McGravy. Just also want to point out there, being that all-around flex tank player, you know, a little bit of defense, a little bit of offense, you know, double dipping from both bowls.
Balance. If Zenyatta taught us anything, that's harmony, right? Harmony. You know, once Team Envy was able to push Gladiators Legion into that room, it was over for them. Their health bars weren't able to recover with that support in time. Now we do have a rally from Gladiators Legion. Far's going to go ahead and let that one rip, and they're going to aggressive on Team Envy, who has that sound barrier, and they're going to be using it offensively. They seem to be favoring using the sound barrier to try to make things happen instead of countering a Graviton or Earth Shatter. God's taken below half health. That Zarya is absolutely ripping apart Gods right now, but it hasn't resulted in any kills. And now both sides do have those ultimates. Dalton has that self barrier. The sound barrier is going to be there for for Gladiators Legion this time. Both self-destructs are there. One will get a kill, the other will not. Transcendence is from both sides as well. So both teams had about 5 ultimates. They're going to use all of them, but Tanker still has a self-destruct for the next fight.
Yeah, that's right. Ready to lay down that hammer should the time come. Team Envy back in their own spawn. This can be a very difficult place for the enemy team to break out of. This is a classic holding spot for the defense. You have to feed yourself through those chokes. You can either go through those big warehouse doors or the even smaller doors on that cafe. But either way, you're probably going to be tasting some of that Reinhardt hammer damage. It's not going to be a very delicious flavor right here. Envy coming through will have a little bit of that armor from Jaro as they engage.
Trill will be knocked down from that Earth Shatter, so will almost the rest of the team. Trill, though, somehow still alive. Look at that enabling. He even has that Discord orb on him, but he still is not dead. The shield actually is going to knock him out of this fight. Panker, though, with helping with that trade. There are no Reinhardt, so this is even on both sides right now. Trill will have an Earth Shatter when he comes back. The payload has moved just a little bit. The Transcendence is now going to be used aggressively from Gladiators Legion. We haven't seen that instead of to counter the Graviton Surges, so they're going to be able to take some space. Look how far back Team Envy was pushed.
They have been pushed pretty far back, but that was a heavy investment from Gladiators Legion for no kills. Best news would have been if they had been able to also get a stagger off of that ultimate, and now it is Envy's turn to turn that back.
Dalton has 100 energy and a Graviton Surge. The Earth Shatter was enough to get rid of Panker on this payload, so 6v3 Gods will be D-Mag. Team Envy is going to continue moving on this payload. Will Gladiators Legion come back and defend on streets? They could, but maybe not.
I think they're going to give it a go. You know that you have no time left, so you're all playing against that invisible 7th player, that time bank. So ideally you want to be trying to, you know, make this as competitive as possible, not give up any points for free. As yes, speed boosting onto the point, straight into a Graviton Surge. Whole new universe is being blown open by Sharp and Trill right here as that payload does make its way into point B. Unfortunate right there. You get Gladiators Legion. They gave it the old college try. You know, didn't quite work out that time.
They got a grab out of it.
They got a grab, certainly. But Trill, look at this. Going on a little freelancing work, you know, squatting. But unfortunately found out almost immediately by Gods, who's not going to be falling prey to any of those party tricks. He's been there. He's one of the OG C9 players. You know, you think he can, like, you know, pull the wool over my eyes? No.
Well, he's going to pull the Earth Shatter underneath of their feet. Hoops is going to be laying down. Far will be the first to fall. So Jari pulling first blood here. And Team Envy starting to put it all together. They were struggling to be consistent and cohesive, but we're seeing that in spades right now.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Trill was just playing that distraction, Reinhardt, right here as Dalton takes himself down with a nade at his feet. But the goal is going to be to reset as quickly as possible. Gladiators Legion, they have tools. Will they even have the chance to use it?
Let's see. They have 3 minutes on the clock. That is so much more time than Gladiators Legion had at this point. Trill, though, going to be the one knocked down. That's not going to be enough. But the charge kill onto Jara opens this up for Gladiators Legion, so the shot caller isn't there. He's going to have to do that from spawn right now, and they're going to be smart and reset. They have the time. No need to force this.
Exactly. The call coming through will be fallback reset right here. We know that we have a couple more good pushes under our belt, and Team Envy coming back in here, touching the point, and Sharp will be looking for that grab.
God's getting booped away on the way down from that jump, but it's not going to matter as the D-Mech is there for Gladiators Legion. But look at the trade here from Jaru. One less Diva versus one less Frigg. I'm going to take that Frigg kill in at the end. The Earth Shatter is not going to get much on either side. We're just going to hear a lot of noise. Panker was laying down, but the kill wasn't there. The particle barrier on the ally was so important to keep him alive. Self-destruct into the Graviton on the opposite side, but Gravy will get that self-destruct. No Graviton surges from either side right now. Dalton not getting much on that, and Team Envy getting a lot out of that fight, finishing this map with time to spare.
Yeah, 2 minutes for Team Envy, and because they finished with over a minute, that means that Gladiators Legion, the best that they can hope for here is a draw. They will only have the chance to defend the point against Envy's attack. But you're right, Boob. Envy, you know, they got all the coffee starting to settle in. They're waking up, they're warmed up and ready to play. That was a very impressive snowball through Streets phase. As quickly as Gladiators Legion made it look, Team Envy were the ones who were actually able to seal the deal around that third corner.
They're growing up in front of our eyes.
Oh, so beautiful.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. You know, we're gonna. You know how when you were little, your parents like marked on the door how tall you are. I feel like that's kind of what we're seeing right now.
I
with
know.
this.
Growing up, that was like 3 really great Earth Shatters, right? Up from one yesterday.
And now, what has been really cool is seeing how Gladiators Legion is using this double main tank gods on that Winston. You know, trying to get into that back line didn't work out very well. Switched in the end game there on point 3, but they did lose out. But they actually have an advantage with the draw since they did win that first map. A draw would still give them match point in match 3.
Yes, exactly. Team Envy is still, you can't be relaxing just yet. You have to seal the deal here on Hollywood. And I do like this Gladiators Legion. The Winston Reinhardt look was very successful, and we're going to see a little bit more of that come through. And I do think that this is still a really excellent look. Every time Team Envy take 3 steps forward, a big gorilla drops into their backline, and now suddenly they have to all turn their heads. And just the fact that you're getting distracted is going to be an advantage for Gladiators Legion.
Well, they have the supports to trust to make sure this happens, because they will be susceptible to those Graviton surges. No defense matrices to stop. It looks like they're going to make some changes going back to spawn.
Ooh, what is this? Simon says staying with the same heroes. No, it's going to be Sharp to Reaper, and McGravy picking up the Zarya. Okay, now we are cooking with gas. I am so excited, Boop. Team Envy recognizing there is no defense matrix, nobody to gobble up all of those shotgun pellets. Even if it takes Envy a minute to get up to that Death Blossom, that is going to be their win condition.
Oh, but Gladiators Legion to come out on top. It's a 5v4 on at the point right now. Sharp getting bursted down. While he is so good against tanks, he's not good if he is in spawn. He has to make an impact. That's the whole point of Reaper. You have to make an immediate impact.
Yeah, your team does need to play a little bit of a bouncer for you, keeping you safe, because even with that lifesteal mechanic, you're not going to be able to sustain yourself against all of the shield bashes, all of the bursts coming through from Gladiators Legion, who will now have worked up to a Transcendence. Rolf's going to have that in their back pocket, so even if Sharp gets this Death Blossom off, it's still going to be an uphill battle for Envy.
I just want to point out real quick, Rolf was able to make some contact with some orbs at the beginning of the game, got about 8 percentage points, so that's how far ahead he was on that Transcendence. So you got to get as much ult charge as you can when you can get it. Sharp still not doing much, only at 55% on this Death Blossom. Earth Shatter is going to come from Panker and Gladiators Legion, and it's going to force out the Transcendence from Team Envy this time. This means they can take some space. They're going to take it away. Gladiators Warriors is with that unwilling hug. Rolf is going to get Trill down without that Reinhardt. It's going to be so much harder for Team Envy. They only need 1 tick, but they only have 8 seconds to get it and not a lot of bodies on the field. 4 people left for Team Envy. Trill's going to try so hard to get back, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Jaru, the last one on the point. Overtime has commenced thanks to Fire. Is this going to be able to stall out just enough time for them? They're only going to have 3 people. The Earthshatter, though, going to get 2 on the ground. Trill uses it because he has to at this point. Sharp finally with that Death Blossom gets booped into the back line. Hey, the positioning would have been better if he had another teammate to help him out there in the end. But now we see a draw.
Draw for Gladiators, Legion, and Team Envy. They weren't quite able to, just get that 33% that they needed on Hollywood. They gambled on that Reaper pick, and unfortunately it didn't quite pay off. I wonder if it would have been a little bit better, throw out a Pharah, something like that. You have a Mercy tailing her, the possibility for a Resurrection to keep that fight going on the point. Just, overwhelm them with your spawn advantage. That could have been a way forward because while it does look good on paper, unfortunately, Reaper, against so many barriers, just doesn't quite charge his ultimate as quickly as he does back in the old day, back in the Beyblade meta. Man, everybody, it's like light up fidget spinners all over the place.
Definitely getting dizzy back in those days. It's crazy to me. I actually kind of miss the Death Blossom meta. I know, right? I don't know why. But now, one thing is for sure, Sharp took too long to get that Death Blossom. But the rest of the team wasn't there to really protect him. He wasn't able to get on the point and get close enough to those tanks. The shielding was too much from that.
And by the time he did have it, he was down team members. It was it would have taken quite a lot. Nigh perfect play from MV to try and pull that off. But I am very excited for what this could mean for the other games that we'll see today. MV is like, okay, well, that didn't quite work, but we're absolutely ready and willing to flex our DPS players onto some of those, dedicated DPS heroes and see what we can get going.
Yeah, once again, Gladiators Legion are still on a match point even through that draw. If they are able to take our 3rd map, they will win the series as a whole. But the draw is going to help with that map win-loss differential. It'll hurt the winner, but will help the loser of this series. And again, with both teams being 0-1, the maps matter so much. But I'm sure these coaches have things to say to their teams. We're going to give them halftime to do it. We will be back soon.